3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Anderson. Anderson, and you're watching freaking Jiggy Jag TV.
Loud and proud, it's Jiggy Jaguar from JiggyJaguar.com.
Thank you. Good night.
I got my cheap snakeskin fake hat from Steve Lovesy, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you an interview that we did with a geffory, not the Toys R Us giraffe, but an Oklahoma filmmaker who I've dubbed the king of filmmakers. And he's going to do an interview with us about a video camp that he did for children here in Hutchinson. We went out and followed some of the journey, and you're going to go to that interview right now. You got anything else to say there, Texas Jiggy? Good old Jeffrey. We enjoyed the interview with him, and I'm enjoying my cowboy hat right here. A cowboy hat does not make an appearance in the interview. But we are going to go out and talk to him right now here on Jiggy Jag TV. Okay. Jiggy Jag TV. We are at the Salt Museum, Stratica, in Hutchinson, Kansas. And I have a very interesting guest with me. I'll tell you, I could talk to this guy off camera for hours about all the shenanigans going on in the world around us. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
My name is Jeffrey Lee Smith, and I go by Jeffrey.
So tell me about this camp that you're doing this week, because this is the coolest idea that I have ever seen that a library program has put together. Take me through this whole thing.
All right. Well, for almost 20 years now, I've done a variety of different kinds of video camps. And when I first started doing video camp, tape with the camp. And so as things evolved in the last 20 years, we're now shooting and editing on these phones, as we know. And so I've just now decided that, you know what, I'm gonna try this camp where the kids shoot and edit on their own. And I thought Hutchinson has a lot of cool, unique things. And I think if I was a kid, you know, how can I make Hutch look cool? And I thought, so I combined the technology of the phone with the shooting and editing. Now all these kids have different phones and different kind of tablets or iPads, and so it's a lot of different, softwares and storage spaces and stuff like that. And so I'm just kind of trying to guide them through the shooting and editing process. And they have a parameter of a 6-minute project where at the end of the week they're going to show their 6-minute video right now at the Hutchinson Public Library, and it's going to be cool.
So back in the day when you were getting this stuff on VHS, how long did that final product take to get to you?
Well, it's actually the first couple camps. It took like maybe a week we got the video done by the end of the camp, and then it may take a week to make the VHS tapes for the students. As I got better at teaching those camps and refining the time between starting on Monday and ending on Friday, I got it down to a science that the kids were walking out with a VHS tape.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I was, it's all, condensing it down that, okay, by Friday morning we're done editing, and then it got to the point where we're doing DVDs, and then it was like, okay, then we had a kid we'd have a kid putting in a DVD into the computer, and then it'd be burning the DVD, and they'd be writing the name on the label, and so by the end of that camp they were getting their DVDs, and now the kids' attitude is like, can't we just put it up online? They don't even want a hard copy anymore. It's just, I'm like,
I've always got to have the hard copy, because you never know. I interviewed a band promoter or whatever years ago, and he always was talking about all these. He'd be like, you have a website, and they're like, well, I got MySpace, and he's like, what if I wake up tomorrow and you can't get in? He's like, you need to have a website. You need to have a hard copy. So.
Right? Oh, I totally agree. And I went to an art conference a few years back, and the guy, even one of those kind of guys, said, he goes, yeah, you can have a Facebook page, but Facebook could go away, and
you could wake up tomorrow
and it's gone. And I was the only artist in that room that had their own website, and I still have my own website now. I just use it for my email, but that's okay. But at least I still have my own website. Yes. So I mean, there is a a good thing about having your own, because you can count on it. And actually, the funny thing for me is like my website is the people's company's out of New Zealand, and so when there's very minor technical issues in 10 years of being 10 plus 15 plus years being with them, but I do like, oh my God, you're in New Zealand, like I can't just go down the street to talk to you, but they've always been really cool about helping me out when the website has been down or whatever, which is very rare. But yeah, again, it's nice having your own.
So getting this camp together, I seen the itinerary. You sent me the itinerary for this. How did you put all this together? What was some of the main goals of getting this?
Well, one of the unique, cool main goals was that I wanted this to be a positive project. I'm one of those kind of hippie kind of, not real, it's hippie anymore, but it's just there's just so much negative energy out there, and I just feel like if kids can create something positive to begin with, maybe that might help them instead of making something that's negative or something that has negative energy to it. Like I hate to say this, but like the Jackass videos back in the day, it's things like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you see what I'm saying? And I know that's a different level of entertainment. I just thought, okay, I wanted to go with this positive concept. I wanted to, and I had almost a connection at every place of somebody I either went to high school with, or I knew Greg from high school in the library, Tanya here at the salt mine from high school, Natalie Gertzen was the assistant director of ARCAD. She was easy to talk to about getting the ARCAD involved. I mean, I had a connection with and so to me, it's levels of community. And so basically I wanted to combine, okay, we're going to make this project that's positive about Hutch. We're going to incorporate the technology. And so again, I'm a hustler. I'm a producer, kind of like you, sir. That you make it happen, and you just kind of figure it. And so then you got to go. I didn't know the ladies at the Cosmosphere, and they were nice ladies. And I said, "This is what I got." And again, none of this cost any of these places, And so
all it is they're open anyway. They just open their doors and they just give you a little bit of a.
And so it's just that's. I mean, I don't know if that was just combobulated or not, but it was just me piecing this puzzle together, and then. The beauty of it is, I had some friends step up and said they would sponsor students because there is a small fee for this to happen, and I had friends step up, and which is so there's just some for me, and I'm being all cheesy, and I'm not going to get all teary-eyed, but not on camera, but it's really when they talk about community, this for me is really this so many combinations of community from, people paying for somebody else, somebody taking up that opportunity, of taking the class, to people knowing people. It's just I'm just being cheesy, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So at the end of this whole thing, you will have taught them just how to make a basic film, or are you teaching them transitions and CGs, or am I getting way too in the woods on this?
No, I wouldn't say too in the woods. But I had to approach these kids. The ages are from 10 to 16, and I know when we first presented this camp, we were thinking 12 and above. But the kids that I know that are 10 years old in here, I mean, it's just cheesy in a fun way that they're some of the more advanced kids, and which is interesting with their phones and their iPads. So they're not like immature and stuff like that. But I approached these kids that there was a level of skill base that they already knew. Either playing on their own, watching on their own, learning, or maybe even having a class of some level. So when I again is getting them through a project so they can say they see a completed project. That's one of the first things to teach them. The second thing is I treat them with a level of respect that, not that they already know some things, but we take their vision and we push them to do it even better, and saying, okay, why don't we think about when this is still here, we might want to crop it, this way down. You might want to hold this a little longer. It's because you want to think how the audience is digesting what they're seeing. Because sometimes these kids are like moving their video too fast, and I was like, okay, you might want to, when you get in post-production, slow it down. So I'm like this producer. If they were like an editor and they're doing, and I know the producer comes in, I don't like this. We need to slow this. Not telling them how to do it, but give them that kind of guidance on how to relate to the audience. Yes. I think you get it. I hope your people get it. But so there is a level. I am teaching them, mentoring them some level. I did give them a production packet that does a lot, and I can even give you this too.
Oh, I would love to have a copy of that. Holy smokes!
Because it's just nothing but the basics. And I tell them, I'm not going to read you the definition.
Okay. One more question before we chat Friday, because we're going to do this basically in two parts. What do you hope is accomplished between today and Friday?
Oh, well, what I hope, I think, will be accomplished for 99.
Okay, so sitting here at the Salt Museum and going into Friday, what is the goal at the end of this whole thing?
Well, the goal is for the kids to show their final project there to their friends and family at the library on the second floor in the auditorium, and 99% of it will be successful because they're going to get it done. And I say 99, not 100, because there's a level there's a level of confidence / cockiness that you don't want to totally embrace. If it makes sense. I know you get it, but I mean,
Yes.
so I mean, it's just and it may not be exactly what we want, but it will be accomplished.
At the end of the day, you're going to get it done.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we'll get it done, and it'll be good for them to have that experience of showing it in front of a live audience and taking the Q&A and just learning from it. So it's not like I've been doing. I'm not trying to be cocky again, but for almost 20 years, I've only had one camp at a school where they wanted us to edit on their computers, and the computers crashed, and we couldn't do. And we show raw footage, so that didn't really count. But it wasn't. But everything else, when it's done with my stuff, or now these kids with their stuff, it's really I will help them.
Works.
And so like one of the kids is actually going to use my computer to edit, between now and Friday. So there will be stuff to see,
Fantastic.
and it'll be cool, positive stuff about Hutchinson. So there you go.
And that's always a good thing, because as you and I have talked off camera, sometimes. But presentations today, and give me your thoughts on this whole week, my man.
It was been interesting. It's you start at the beginning of the journey, and you take a group of kids and you kind of feel out what levels they are, and energy levels and interest, and then you tell them 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon, we're showing it. We're showing something. And
We're showing something.
we're doing it, and you're going to come up and you're going to represent, and I am blessed to be able to achieve that goal with them. Meaning, we may not be totally happy with some of the things that either happened either along the way or the end result. I might have wanted a little more time to tweak this or that, but no, they I think overall they're happy. I think the parents are happy. I think the sites are probably happy they were involved. I think the lady from the Reno County Museum, Katie Booker, said, she goes, "Hi Jeff, I really just appreciate you having being a part of this project, because a lot of kids don't get to come in and experience the Reno County Museum or even know about it or even da-da-da." And she just and even like even Patrick Villo from the Hutchinson Art Center, he goes, several of those kids, they'd never been into the art center. He goes, you're doing something, Jeff, that was getting kids into some things, even Hutch, that they hadn't been into, and to spend some time. And so when they come back, they go, yeah, I was here when I was at a camp. So those are the different levels of successes that you don't really participate or think, oh, we're going to do something that they've never been there. So, and as far as they learn more than they probably realize.
Yeah, watching those presentations, that you can tell that they had learned a little bit more than they
either want to admit or realize. Because again, I've been doing this so long, but not this particular camp for so long, obviously. But when I've told them, I said I've had students I've seen later on, and Mr. Smith, I watch a movie now, and I'm thinking, why shot medium shot close up, and they, that if they really embrace it, they start to recognize, certain shots, and certain shots may mean something, and certain things will make them think a certain way, and stuff like that.
So, was it a big rush this morning getting the editing done, or was it, hey, we've got all of our stuff, this is a smooth process, or where they were like, oh my God, I got till 3 o'clock?
I was the only one that was the oh my God. Because I know, I say to them that Mr. Smith's not the enemy, time's the enemy.
Yes.
And I really say that quite a bit in the last 2 days because I'm like not really the final say for them, but I'm the final. I'm going to give you your last bit of advice before you present. And I don't have to mention names, but with the kids, I always felt like, okay, he's done, and he's done, and so it's like, you know what? That's okay.
Hey,
because
that's fine.
Because my deal is, because if this was earlier in the morning, I'm thinking, he's done. I have to be done with him, meaning I need to move on to the next thing because I know I've got to juggle other things because Unfortunately, you weren't here at the you weren't at the very beginning when I rambled on really fast in front of the crowd.
Oh, I missed that. That's a shame.
Oh yeah, because I asked.
I rambled on in front of the class.
I rambled on really fast, but I basically, there were very few minutes before, and this is not a bad thing, we already had a video kind of in the camp. The girl and her parents were trying to, and I was like, I've got to get up there, and I've got to get to hook up my laptop.
Yes.
And I'm like, I need this time to do this, because I know when at 3 o'clock, I'm going to be, because I'm very adamant, especially when I knew I had 47 minutes of video, so I'm up there at the very beginning, and before I start even talking, and I knew I was missing a button, and I knew I was starting to have different, wavelengths of and luckily one of the IT ladies, one of the parents, she came up and very cool, and not a, you're wrong or anything like that. She's like, oh guys, you just need to go here. And again, because we were hooking up the HDMI.
Yes.
And again, I'm like, I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about also, and I'm thinking this is something that what I was stressed about earlier. And so this thing, like you said, was it like all day? For me, it's all the day. It's because I know there's something. Now the kids, they get done, and if they're done, then they've checked out. And as long as they're not too rambunctious, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But if they're still rambunctious, it's like, that's why I even jokingly said in the Q&A, should we talk about what happened in the play area, and nothing inappropriate or bad, but it's just kids being kids, throwing toys.
Oh yeah, and I'm assuming it was running around and
being goofy.
Yeah.
But again,
causing,
but they don't realize that as I can say, even that energy takes away from your project.
Yeah.
Because you're not understanding.
You could be filming or editing
or just
picking out a shot or thinking about what I'm doing. Instead, it's
yeah.
I'm gonna grab some stuff and chuck it at somebody.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so, but again, we're not talking kids, people like us. We're talking kids.
Yeah.
And they're kids, and so I'm cool. But but again, there's that still takes away. And that's where I could say for example.
And I'm sure we've all been there because I've been to a few Comic-Cons where I'm like, I've got these scheduled interviews, but I'd rather go look at all the cool toys.
Right. Well, and in that way.
So it's like I can completely understand.
For you, it's like you might have these scheduled interviews, but maybe it's one of those things you're like, what, if it's something you really needed, you would have done it. And on the other side, you're like, what, I can let this one go.
Yeah.
And so pick your battles and you get it. So. I got to go back to you real quick, man. I interviewed my and his nephew was in this class. Why I came. You interviewed me.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Gonzalez was his nephew.
That's awesome.
Is his nephew.
That's awesome.
So yeah, when I saw you interviewed Mike Kane, I said, oh, man, again, it's all the levels of community, interconnections and stuff.
Everybody's connected somehow.
Yeah, that's cool.
So with this, after this is all over with and everything, are you satisfied with the end product, or are you going to sit around the next couple of weeks and go, I could have done this?
I see what you're saying. For me, if I'm going to approach this again in the future or next summer, there's some things that I will definitely do with the teaching level. Because I maybe took for granted, because everybody's on their phone, and that there's some already knowledge that they really haven't been taught at a grade school, middle school, high school level of wide, medium, and close-up shots. And really, so there's some things, as you say, I want to think about a couple ways. There's things teaching-wise I would do differently. And am I satisfied with the end product? I'm happy right now, and if we don't get to go to the Fox, then it's not like I don't feel like a loss or a failure. It's just I wasn't able to pull that off. But that was not really, that would be a really cool goal. So it's one of those things, to me, it's not totally complete yet, because if I come back and I can finesse that, then there's a level of fun promotion, to where I can sit there and we can really promote this, and then the kids kind of come back to a point, and you see them again, and you're happy to see them, they're happy because their video's going to be shown, and then there's that level of completion, there's a level of final satisfaction, and then you can sit there and say, then who wants to do this next year? He wants to do this next year, and let's already start thinking about it again. Because then you think about it, if you think about a happy and closure, then you got kids already thinking about next year,
Yeah.
And I'm already thinking, okay, what can we do next year? So yeah,
That's cool. So at the very beginning, up until today, did you have a different, I guess, view of when you started talking to them in a classroom setting to where we finally showed the film? Or,
what do you mean by different?
well, I guess did you think that, hey, they were, they're not going to be able to pull this off, and then at the end of it, you're like, oh my God, they pulled this off.
At the beginning, I naturally we're going to assume it pull it off. I don't know if that's arrogance or confidence or just assumptions. That's because that's the end goal in mind. And you tell them, this is Monday, Friday, and it's going to come quick.
You better believe it.
Friday at 3, this is what's happening. And so, as a teacher, as an inspirer, as a mentor, and the ebbs and flows of the camp, and different times and different places, and and the different personalities. Because as one of my friends says, well, in some levels besides the level of teaching, Jeff, you kind of people manage throughout a week because you're managing these egos and personalities and emotional roller coasters of whatever these teenagers or kids are going through. And so there's times I never thought, oh, they're not at the beginning of the week, no, they're not going to do this. But there was times like this morning, I said to them, would you be more comfortable not doing a screening on the big screen, and you'd rather have you at a separate little table and parents just kind of stop by for about an hour, and you just show your video, and it's because it was supposed to be shot and edited on your phone. I told them, I said, maybe I'm approaching this wrong as far as your final and viewing venue. It should just be on your phone.
Yeah.
And it was cool with the kids. Not that I was giving them much, but I just wanted to feel them out because if they were like, yeah, let's just show it on the phone. I'd be like, okay, well then maybe we need to embrace it like that. Maybe because I'm thinking as an older person how cool these things are, and it's already done. How cool this. So they're no, I want to do it on the big screen, and they were all consensus. There was nobody that said.
Fantastic.
And so they get okay. So obviously they did learn something. They did buy something. And they want to see it.
Yeah.
And so I think even when you see it on the big screen when you're a kid, and you finally see it, you're like, okay, I could do this. So it's almost like I would love to. Again, you're always fighting the clock. But if we can get them early enough, early enough on a Friday, early in the morning, they see it on the big screen. Then they go, okay, I need to tweak this, this, and this. Because once you throw it up there,
it's up there.
It's up there. And so now, that's what I'm saying. They can fix or tweak anything they want to do before the Fox. So, but no, yeah, I never really thought, no, we're not going to do this. But there was some energy like, because again, you're wondering if they really totally tank out. How can you salvage something? What does it salvage? And I don't mind sharing this, but there was an energy that left the camp, and when that energy left, there was different levels of, and it was more me, the teacher, than the other kids, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Because it wasn't affecting them; it was just affecting me. Like, it's another entity that I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm just a discombobulated rambling there of your answer.
Hey, it all works. Well, thanks for doing this. Thanks for doing this camp. Thanks for showing all your cool skills to kids and making that work.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you being supportive.
This was really cool.
I appreciate you being supportive, and I feel like I met a brother in the industry,
Don't let that get around. That'll ruin your reputation.
Well,
but
I can say the same to you. But no, I think it's cool. It's cool. And again, it's about networking and community, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah. Well, thank you, my man. Appreciate it, brother.